When the Soul Seal curse descended, Han Li did not curse fate, he sharpened his blade. Sealed behind walls of ice, the woman he loved hovered between life and death, while an unseen enemy calmly counted the days. With only a month to prepare, Han Li shut himself away, refining lightning and blood into steel, forcing 36 flying swords to evolve beyond their limits. As the appointed time drew near, Heavenpillar Mountain became the stage of a silent trap, and every step forward carried the weight of betrayal, calculation, and death. What awaited him was not negotiation, but a choice: walk into the enemy's snare or abandon the one bound by the curse. Han Li chose to step forward, because for him survival was never about chance. It was about preparation, resolve, and the certainty that when blades finally crossed, only one soul would be left standing. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Han Li slowly shook his head and spoke in an unhurried tone, calm yet resolute. There's no need. If my guess is correct, that person's cultivation runs deep enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with the Mulan divine sages. If ordinary cultivators were to encounter him, they wouldn't stand a chance. They would only be throwing their lives away. Moreover, he possesses the method to remove the Soul Seal curse. I have no intention of alerting him prematurely. Senior Martial Brother Cheng's expression changed drastically as he cried out in alarm. On par with a Mulan divine sage. Then could he be a late nascent soul cultivator? If that's the case, Junior Martial Brother absolutely cannot face him alone. It's far too dangerous. We should immediately request assistance from Long Han and Feng Bing. Han Li let out a soft, weary sigh before replying evenly. Even if they could deal with him, they would need at least 4 months to arrive. By then, it would already be too late. The black-robed man only granted 2 months after the assault. He clearly calculated the timing of my return, yet he failed to anticipate that I could travel so swiftly. That miscalculation gives me a small window of opportunity, time enough to consider how best to deal with him. His gaze darkened slightly as he added more gravely, most importantly, I must find a way to obtain the method to dissolve the Soul Seal curse. Senior Martial Brother Cheng could only nod heavily. Very well. If Junior Martial Brother requires any assistance, do not hesitate to ask. All disciples of the sect are at your disposal. Han Li inclined his head slightly. My thanks, Senior Martial Brother. According to the Jade Slip Wana left behind, she can delay the activation of the Soul Seal curse for nearly 100 years. However, that method has never been tested in truth. I cannot help but worry. As he spoke, his gaze drifted toward the girl sealed within the wall of ice, his eyes filled with unconcealed concern. After pondering for a moment, the silver-haired elder spoke in a consoling tone. There's no need for Junior Martial Brother to be overly anxious. From what I can see, she should be able to endure and overcome this tribulation. How about this? I'll search through the ancient records over the next few days. Perhaps I'll find a method to dissolve the curse, sparing you from having to seek out that black-robed man. Han Li forced a faint smile. Thank you for the trouble, Senior Martial Brother. If you don't mind, I'd like to be alone here for a while. I hope you won't take offense. Of course, of course. Senior Martial Brother Cheng nodded immediately. I'll head to the records library at once. Please, keep your wife company. With a sympathetic look, he turned and left, leaving Han Li alone within the silent chamber. Han Li slowly turned back toward the ice wall. His shoulders slumped almost imperceptibly as he let out a long, lonely sigh. An entire day passed, yet Han Li never once stepped out of the room. When Senior Martial Brother Cheng returned from the records library and saw that Han Li was still inside, unease crept into his heart. After waiting for another half-day, he finally resolved to check on him. But just as he was about to enter, the door suddenly opened and Han Li stepped out. Junior Martial Brother Han, has something happened? The old man asked, his voice tinged with confusion. Seeing that the elder had been waiting outside all this time, a warmth spread through Han Li's heart. He clasped his hands apologetically. It's nothing. I was merely thinking through my plans to deal with the enemy. I'm sorry for causing you concern. There's still a month before the deadline. I intend to enter seclusion to prepare. Unless something urgent arises, there's no need to disturb me. You're entering seclusion. Senior Martial Brother Cheng frowned in puzzlement. What can possibly be done in such a short time? Han Li replied vaguely. I obtained a bit of auric essence during my travels. I originally intended to further refine my magic treasures, Though with only a month, I can only strengthen them somewhat. Realization dawned on the old man. So that's how it is. Please proceed, junior martial brother. I'll ensure that no sect disciples disturb you. Hanli nodded solemnly, then added, There's one more matter. Since the ice wall is formed here, I can't stray too far, otherwise something unforeseen might happen. I intend to set up several additional formations around it to further protect Wana. I'll have to trouble senior martial brother to keep watch. Rest assured, the silver-haired elder replied without hesitation. Fellow Taoist Nangong was attacked within the territory of our drifting cloud sect. As such, the responsibility lies with me. I've already designated this place as a forbidden area. No disciples will wander here. Your wife's safety will not be compromised. A sharp glint flashed through Han Li's eyes. In that case, I'm relieved. Time is pressing. I'll first set up the formations before entering seclusion. Leaving the old man behind, Han Li returned to his cave residence, only to find Mu Peiling waiting there. A trace of surprise flickered across his face, but he still welcomed her inside. Once inside the hall, Mu Peiling asked anxiously, Is big sister Nangong all right? I heard she was injured, but I couldn't get any detailed information. I've been terribly worried. Hanli took a seat and asked calmly, Oh, you and Wana are close. Mu Peiling nodded without hesitation. We get along very well. Big sister Nangong has a gentle temperament. While my lord was away, she guided me greatly in my cultivation. I owe her a great debt. Hanli fell silent for a moment before giving a bitter smile. Hearing that should make me happy. And yet Wana has been afflicted by the soul seal curse and sealed herself away. Still, in the month since we last met, your cultivation has clearly improved. I'm glad you haven't been lax. As for me, I'll be entering seclusion for the next month to prepare for breaking Wana's curse. Mu Peiling's expression tightened. The soul seal curse. That devil Dao curse is notoriously troublesome. My lord, do you have a way to resolve it? A cold, grim look appeared on Han Li's face. Resolve it. The only way is to kill the one who cast it and seize the method from his corpse. Mu Peiling could only frown in silence. At that moment, Liu Yu, the disciple Han Li had taken in on a whim, came to pay a visit. Aside from greeting her master, she also inquired about Nangong Wan. Clever by nature, she had already befriended Nangong Wan, her master's wife. Han Li gave her a brief account of what had happened, including mention of the soul seal curse. Liu Yu was deeply worried, but with her limited cultivation and experience, there was nothing she could do. Seeing no reason to continue the conversation, Han Li personally escorted the two women out. Neither raised any objections and obediently departed. Yet just as they left the cave residence, Liu Yu's eyes flickered mischievously. She smiled at Mu Peiling and said teasingly, Fellow Taoist. Mu, though you're the master's concubine, you're still a maiden and treated like a guest. Could it be that your beauty doesn't move him? Or is there some other reason? With Lady Nangong surpassing you in beauty, you'd best step up your efforts. You mean Mu Peiling's face instantly flushed red as she realized the implication. With a light laugh, Liu Yu shot into the sky as a streak of light. Mu Peiling stood dazed for a moment before hurriedly summoning her magic tool and following after her. After watching them leave, Han Li inspected the medicine garden and the insect chamber, confirming that everything was in order. He then gathered several materials for tool refinement and entered a sealed chamber. There he began using his nascent flame to temper the auric essence into his 36 flying swords. Between the auric essence obtained from Master Sunreach the Mulan, and an additional piece gifted by Long Han on behalf of the Heavenly Tao Alliance, Han Li possessed more than enough to fully refine all 36 swords. Incorporating additional materials into completed magic treasures was not particularly difficult. However, doing so within a single month left no room for error. Han Li could only devote himself fully, striving to refine the swords to the point where they could form a rudimentary grand aureate sword formation sufficient to contend with a late nascent soul cultivator. As for the one who placed the soul seal curse upon Nangong Wan, it was almost certainly the yin-sifting sect master. To obtain the method of dissolution, Han Li would have to rely on this incomplete aureate sword formation. With his mind set, Han Li patted his storage pouch, summoning several pieces of auric essence of varying sizes onto the ground. He then brought out the supplementary materials and arranged them neatly nearby. Sitting cross-legged, Han Li pointed toward the smallest piece of auric essence. The faintly golden stone floated up and slowly drifted toward him. his gaze locked onto it unwavering. When it stopped 1 meter before him, Han Li formed an incantation seal with both hands and spat out a dazzling azure nascent flame. With a soft bang, the flame struck the auric essence, instantly enveloping it. Han Li began chanting slowly. The azure flame surged brighter and brighter, gradually melting the stone within. His expression remained stern and focused. An hour later, most of the impurities had dripped onto the ground as molten residue. What remained hovered within the flames, a translucent shimmering liquid. Seeing this, Han Li flicked his sleeve, summoning a jade box. It sprang open to reveal a fine silver powder. The powder swept into the liquid auric essence in a streak of silver light, causing the azure flames to roil violently. The transparent liquid began to glow with silvery brilliance. After striking it with several spell seals, the powder was completely absorbed. Suddenly, a strange phenomenon unfolded. The translucent liquid quivered, then split apart, separating into 6 thumb-sized silver beads that slowly revolved through the air, emitting a faint, resonant hum. Han Li exhaled deeply. Without hesitation, he suddenly bit down on the tip of his tongue and spat out a mouthful of blood essence toward the floating beads. The 6 beads absorbed it cleanly, not letting even the slightest trace escape. In the next instant, their silvery sheen vanished, replaced by a pure, resplendent golden glow. Han Li's eyes lit up at the sight. His spirits instantly stirred. He opened his mouth once more and spat out a streak of azure light. The light circled around him once before coming to a halt, revealing itself to be a tiny sword, barely an inch long, its body crystalline and sharp, shrouded in swirling azure mist. With a flick of his finger, Han Li pointed toward one of the purified auric essence beads. The bead drifted forward and spread across the surface of the small sword, coating it in a perfectly even layer. At once the sword erupted with dazzling golden radiance, its aura surging. Han Li raised an eyebrow slightly. He then gestured toward the ground several times, summoning multiple supplementary materials. One by one, they fused seamlessly into the sword. With a beckoning motion, he summoned the sword into his palm, where it was instantly engulfed by roaring azure nascent flames. Slowly, Han Li closed his eyes. His spiritual sense extended outward, delicately guiding the nascent flames as he began the tempering process. This step would not be complete until the blood essence-infused auric essence fully merged with the flying sword, becoming one with it in body and spirit. Days flowed past like water. Han Li refined the bamboo cloudswarm swords one after another without a single moment of rest. Were it not for the support of the myriad-year spirit milk, even his profound magic power would never have endured such relentless refinement. As the appointed date set by the black-robed man drew ever closer, those aware of the matter gradually grew anxious. Among them, none were more uneasy than senior marshal brother Cheng. On the day before the deadline, a flying sword pierced the skies above the drifting cloud sect and delivered a jade slip. The slip clearly stated the exact location of the coming meeting. The place was not only treacherous in terrain, but also located far from the Dreamcloud Mountains. If Han Li failed to leave seclusion in time, he might not even make it to the destination. Inside the sect's main hall, the silver-haired elder paced back and forth, unable to calm himself. Just as his worry reached its peak, a figure silently appeared at the entrance. Senior Marshal Brother Chung turned, startled, then cried out with joy. "Junior Marshal Brother, you've finally come out. Have you finished tempering your magic treasures?" Compared to a month ago, Han Li now carried himself with noticeably greater confidence. He replied in a low, steady voice, "I've barely managed to complete the refinement. Senior Marshal Brother, I heard another jade slip arrive detailing the meeting place. Is that true?" "That's right," Senior Marshal Brother Chung nodded gravely. "He demands to meet you at the peak of Heavenpillar Mountain. This is the jade slip he sent." Han Li accepted the green jade slip and swept it with his spiritual sense. He let out a cold snort, his expression turning stern. "He wants me to come alone and bring the golden lightning bamboo magic treasure. It seems he's investigated me thoroughly. He even knows of my relationship with Wana. Otherwise he wouldn't dare use her against me." With his vast abilities prying into the affairs between Junior Marshal Brother Han and little sister Nangong would be effortless. Senior Marshal Brother Chung replied heavily, "Low-grade cultivators are utterly defenseless before powerful Devil Dao experts. Junior Marshal Brother, I cannot allow you to face this danger alone. I've already contacted Child Fire Dragon and 6 other fellow Daoists. Once you set out, we'll follow from a distance. The moment that man reveals himself, we'll surround him and trap him completely. He must learn that he cannot act with impunity in our state of Shi. Hanli pondered briefly before nodding. Senior Marshal Brother's plan is sound, though that man will likely be on guard. Still, having you follow me poses no harm. If he grows arrogant or careless, it will be his death. Good. Then it's settled, the elder said decisively. Heavenpillar Mountain may be towering, but to cultivators like us, it's no different from flat ground. I'll place a marker on you, so we can track your position. If the opponent truly proves too strong, all you need to do is stall until we arrive. Hanli clasped his hands solemnly. I thank Senior Marshal Brother for this assistance. I will not forget this favor. Senior Marshal Brother Chung laughed softly. Junior Marshal Brother Han is a member of the Drifting Cloud sect. We would never treat you as an outsider. The appointed time is fast approaching. You must depart tonight, or you may not reach Heavenpillar Mountain in time. Hanli nodded and took his leave without delay. Watching him depart, the silver-haired elder finally let out a long breath. A knowing smile appeared on his face. From Hanli's promise alone, he knew his efforts had not been in vain. When his lifespan eventually ran out, he trusted that Hanli would do his utmost to repay the sect. After a moment's contemplation, he slapped his storage pouch and retrieved several sound transmission talismans. With a wave of his sleeve, he sent them flying out of the hall in streaks of red light. Only then did the old man sit back down, his expression thoughtful and grave. These talismans would soon summon his trusted friends who had been staying in the guest hall these past few days. 2 hours after Hanli's departure, Senior Marshal Brother Chang and the others quietly set out in pursuit. To conserve his magic power, Hanli flew at an ordinary speed, cloaked in a simple streak of light. As he traveled, he idly toyed with a 3-inch-long flying sword in his hand, one of the 36 swords refined with auric essence. For reasons unknown, all 36 swords had turned a lustrous gold after the infusion. Hanli initially believed the change temporary, that once the auric essence fully merged, the swords would revert to their original appearance. Yet even after full refinement, their golden sheen remained. This left him thoroughly perplexed. However, the enhancement brought by the auric essence far exceeded even the legendary descriptions. Through testing, Hanli discovered that the swords were at least 30% more powerful than before, their sharpness vastly superior. He was confident that against any magic treasure forged from inferior materials, his flying swords could cleave straight through. Still, unease lingered beneath his satisfaction, recalling the sword's primary material, golden lightning bamboo, and the refined crystal used during their initial tempering. Hanli speculated whether these rare materials had undergone some unfathomable transformation when fused with auric essence. After long contemplation, this seemed the only plausible explanation. Since the result was beneficial, he chose not to pursue the matter further. Instead, his thoughts turned to the aureate sword formation. Hanli did not need to cultivate it deliberately to activate it. During seclusion, he had already tested it with ease. The terrifying might it displayed verified the words recorded on the golden page. Though he could only form a rudimentary version of the aureate formation, its power alone greatly bolstered his confidence in confronting the black-robed man. He needed to dispel Nangong Wan's soul seal curse. Without the aureate formation, however, Hanli would never have obediently marched towards certain death. Of course, he had never faced a late nascent soul cultivator before and could not know the outcome for certain. But having battled mid-nascent soul experts, he estimated that he possessed at least an 80% chance of trapping and killing one. With such strength, contending against a late-stage opponent was no longer unthinkable. The true difficulty lay in extracting the method to dissolve the soul seal curse from his enemy. Hanli would have to act with utmost caution and judgment once they met. With a soft sigh, the small sword in his hand vanished. Hanli swept his surroundings with his spiritual sense. He detected no sign of Senior Marshal Brother Cheng or the others, but this did not surprise him. They were undoubtedly concealing themselves at a distance, wary of being discovered by a potential late nascent soul cultivator. Heavenpillar Mountain stood alone to the west of the Dreamcloud Mountains, a solitary, precipitous peak soaring tens of kilometers into the sky. From afar, it appeared impossibly steep, with nearly a third of its height piercing through the clouds. Only a handful of low hills surrounded it, leaving the area exposed and easily observed. It was no wonder the black-robed man had chosen this location. Yet when Han Li reached a point 50 kilometers away, his spiritual sense suddenly churned violently. Despite possessing the perception of a mid-nascent soul cultivator, Han Li did not dare relax. Who could say whether the black-robed man was deliberately concealing something, waiting to lull him into a false sense of security? Thus Han Li continued probing his surroundings with his spiritual sense while pretending ignorance, calmly flying toward the mountain peak. At nearly the same moment atop Heavenpillar Mountain, a black-robed figure slowly opened his eyes. His gaze locked onto Han Li's approaching form. A cold murmur escaped his lips. "You've come. It seems the information I obtained was accurate. Your bond with that woman truly runs deep. Putting yourself in danger over a woman." The black-robed man muttered coldly, "It seems I've overestimated you." He turned his gaze toward the simple transportation formation beside him. When his senses confirmed that Han Li was only a few dozen kilometers away, he rose to his feet and strode toward the formation. A moment later, white light flashed and his figure vanished without a trace. At that same instant, Han Li felt the black-robed man's presence abruptly disappear. Alarm bells rang violently in his mind. What's the point of using a concealment technique now? Is he trying to ambush me? His expression darkened, yet he continued onward, every sense stretched to its limit. When Han Li reached the peak of Heavenpillar Mountain and saw the conspicuous transportation formation placed there, his expression instantly changed. His gaze then shifted to a massive boulder beside it where several words had been deeply carved. "Do not be late." Reading them, Han Li's face turned grim, and he silently cursed the other party's cunning. He could tell at a glance that this was a simple transportation formation, incapable of sending someone too far. Yet once he stepped into it, he would be walking straight into his enemy's trap. Worse still, he had no way of knowing whether Senior Marshal Brother Cheng and the others would be able to follow him through it. From the message carved into the stone, it was clear the black-robed man had no intention of meeting him here or giving him any opportunity to negotiate. If Han Li hesitated too long, the other party might simply leave, and that was a risk he absolutely could not afford. If he wanted the method to dissolve the Soul Seal curse, he had no choice but to take this gamble. Han Li's expression wavered briefly before hardening with resolve. He first swept the surrounding area with his spiritual sense, confirming that no devil cultivators were lying in ambush. Then he took out a sound transmission talisman, whispered a few words into it, and flicked it into the air. The talisman shot off in a streak of red light, disappearing into the sky. Next, Han Li reached for his spirit beast pouch and released its contents. The black gold devouring beetles burst forth and instantly swarmed around him, forming a tri-colored suit of armor that tightly wrapped his body. With a flick of his sleeve, a small blue shield appeared before him. At the same time, a flash of white light revealed an embroidered scarf in his hand. Han Li lowered his head, gazing at the scarf. A strange light flickered in his eyes. This protective treasure had been given to him by Nangong Wan. He gently brushed his fingers across the smooth fabric, standing there in silence. A moment later, Han Li raised his hand and layered several protective barriers around his body. Finally, without further hesitation, he stepped into the transportation formation. He took a deep breath and struck the corner of the formation with a spell seal. White light flared. Han Li vanished without a trace. At the center of a nameless island within a small lake, several thousand kilometers away from Heavenpillar Mountain, white light flashed once more. Han Li's figure appeared. Ignoring the discomfort of teleportation, he immediately commanded his blue shield to expand, covering most of his body. Yet no attack followed, and he instead had time to survey his surroundings. "There's no need to be so nervous," a strange voice said calmly from nearby. "I wouldn't stoop so low as to launch a sneak attack against an early nascent soul cultivator, like you, especially one rumored to be rather extraordinary." Han Li's heart trembled. This voice was not the yin-sifting sect masters. Could it be another devil Dao cultivator? Suppressing his shock, Han Li turned toward the voice. A black-robed youth stood about 100 meters away, his hands clasped behind his back. He appeared to be no more than 20-something, calmly observing Han Li. Though Han Li had never seen the yin-sifting sect master's true face, this man's voice, build, and bearing were completely different. Han Li narrowed his eyes, unable to discern the youth's cultivation. With a wary heart, he snorted coldly. "If you weren't planning a sneak attack, then why did you place the Soul Seal curse on my Dao companion?" As he spoke, Han Li subtly surveyed his surroundings. They stood near the edge of a swamp. The air was damp and heavy, the water murky. In the distance, faint ripples marked the presence of a lake, and a short grove of trees stood nearby. After a brief frown, Han Li regained his composure. He sensed strange fluctuations of spiritual qi in the area, and immediately realized that restrictions had been laid down just as he had suspected. Though they didn't seem particularly formidable, being forcibly brought here already placed him at a disadvantage. The youth chuckled softly. There's no need for them now, since fellow Taoist Han has obediently come. Though I do possess some ability, I'm not foolish enough to challenge your entire sect. Han Li glared at him. You're truly not the yin-sifting sect master. The black-robed youth laughed lightly. What? Do I look like my sect master? No, Han Li replied coldly. But you infiltrated the drifting cloud sect with ease and escaped unharmed after injuring someone. I don't know who else besides the sect master could accomplish that. And I've never seen you before. Were you not present during the great battle? The youth smiled faintly, an odd glint flashing in his eyes. Though I would like to explain, I didn't invite fellow Taoist Han here for idle conversation. Did you bring the golden lightning bamboo magic treasure? Han Li stared at him in silence. The youth sighed and spoke with confidence. If you intend to stall, you'll be disappointed. I personally refined that transportation formation. It can only be used twice. After that, the opposite end will self-destruct. Your friends won't be able to reach this place for at least half a day. That is more than enough time for us to settle matters. A cold gleam flashed in Han Li's eyes. You want to confirm whether I have the golden lightning bamboo treasure? He said flatly. Then show me the method to dissolve the soul seal curse first. The method is recorded in this jade slip, the youth replied, revealing a jet-black slip in his hand. His gaze sharpened. But first let me see the golden lightning bamboo. Unlike my sect master, I only desire the treasure. I have no interest in avenging his deceased Tao companion. Han Li raised his brows. Very well. Compared to my Tao companion, the golden lightning bamboo is insignificant. He placed both hands against his chest and slowly drew them apart. Thunder cracked. Golden lightning burst forth, condensing into a small azure arrow in his hand. Pinching it between two fingers, Han Li calmly looked at the youth. Greed flickered across the youth's face. After a brief pause, he flicked his wrist, sending the black jade slip drifting toward Han Li at an unnaturally slow pace, as if pulled along by invisible threads. Understanding his intent immediately, Han Li wordlessly tossed the azure arrow forward at the same measured speed. Though both controlled their respective items, their gazes never left each other. When the two objects crossed paths, both men unconsciously let out a breath. They caught the exchanged items, then their expressions turned bitter. This is your golden lightning bamboo magic treasure. The black-robed youth sneered and crushed the arrow in his fingers. Silver-white flames erupted, reducing it to ash. And I've never heard of the most basic 5 elements technique being able to dissolve the soul seal curse, Han Li replied coldly. Blue flame surged from his hand, freezing the jade slip before shattering it into glittering fragments. The youth's face hardened. Fiendish qi seeped from his body as he snorted. So neither of us trusts the other. Very well. I'll ask one last time. Are you willing to hand over the golden lightning bamboo? Do so, and I'll give you the method to save your Tao companion and leave. Refuse, and I'll simply kill you and take it myself. Since it's not an ancient treasure, you must be carrying it within your body. Han Li sighed softly. As it happens, my intentions mirror yours. Since you're the one who cast the soul seal curse, the method must reside within your mind. Once I kill you, I'll soul-search your primal soul and take what I need. The youth laughed, fury blazing in his eyes. You dare speak of soul-searching me? For several hundred years, no one has dared say such a thing. I'll honor your audacity by leaving your corpse intact. He raised both hands and rapidly shot spell seals in all directions. A deep hum echoed. 7 pillars of blinding white light erupted skyward. At the same time, silver-white flood dragons burst forth from each pillar, roaring as they twisted through the heavens. Not good. The 7-pillar dragons. Silvermoon's terrified voice rang out in Han Li's ear. Master, leave at once. That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much.